light, curious, flirty, social, Venus in Gemini energy will be with us all throughout July 2025. Even though Venus is no longer in her home sign of Taurus, where she feels extra strong and peaceful, I really love Venus in Gemini energy. And there are a lot of great potentials to this energy, especially when you kind of lean in the right directions and know what to look for. Venus in Gemini is really very simple, very easy to enjoy. So let's talk about 9 great ways to enjoy Venus in Gemini, which is with us throughout July 2025, from the 4th through the 30th. And no matter what sign you are, this transit is active for us all. So I'm just going to talk us through this little video that I prepared here. Excuse my amateur setup. Okay, the number 1 tip for sort of maximizing the potential of this transit is to flirt. To flirt for fun. Venus in Gemini is super flirty because it's a form of connection that is light, that's fun, that's playful. So that's absolutely perfect for this signature. It's not about trying to, get somewhere with being flirty. It's better to be about being playful. It's about the lack of pressure. That's what really goes with the Venus and Gemini energy. It's not really a long-term commitment energy. It's more light and fun right now. And I think that this makes sense sort of literally and metaphorically. It's a great time to bring in that sort of light, flirty energy rather than the serious stuff. No matter where you are, sort of with a relationship, with new people, with existing people, even with friends, kind of keeping things a little bit lighter really works very well for Venus in Gemini this month. Okay, the number 2 tip for maximizing the potential of this energy is to socialize. Socialize, socialize. Venus in Gemini is super social. So it's a great time to plan a party, to go to a party, to go to 2 parties or more. Gemini always likes to do things twice. To catch up with a friend over the phone. It's also a very social energy. So talking about new things could be right on time, meeting new people. There's something about that novelty that really works with Venus and Gemini too. So there's a desire to be social that comes from all of these different aspects of Gemini sort of coming to the surface in a different way with Venus moving through this house and sign. So socializing with new and old people is a great way to enjoy this transit. Okay, the 3rd tip is to break routines. And I sort of have already started to talk about this a little bit because of that novelty. So it's a great time to break from routines, not to do things the way you're used to doing them, but to instead try something new in some kind of way, especially in your romantic connection, in your love life. Venus in Gemini does love that novelty, and Venus in Gemini also loves variety. So this is just an amazing time to break from routine in relationships, to do something different, to break in routines in terms of your pursuit of a relationship, and just to try something new, to go about things in a different way. It's great to ask questions that have never been asked before. Gemini energy is so curious. So changing through things up, being curious about something new, bringing in variety, bringing in novelty will feel really good this month. Yeah, That's a great way to maximize the potential of Venus and Gemini. Let's move on to tip number 4. Okay, write some great love notes or texts. I was thinking about this in a romantic relationship context, but really it's just such a great time to write in general. There's great sort of writing energy potential available during this time because Gemini is very verbal and Venus is very affectionate. So when you sort of put these two energies together, it means it could be a great time to write about how you feel, to write sweet notes, or even just cute little texts that communicate sort of how you really think and feel. Like I said, that combination of verbal energy and affectionate energy could make you really good at this month, and your intention could come across and make a positive impact. Doing these things is a great way to sort of strengthen relationships right now, which is always something to think about when we think about the Venus signature. You know, how can we use that energy to strengthen relationships with others, with ourselves, with our friends, with partners? Okay, so prioritizing fun during Venus and Gemini season while being social, right? We talked before about how much we might feel like being social with Venus and Gemini energy. And it's about fun rather than seriousness. Gemini likes to keep things light and have fun and have a good time. So I think keeping that in mind right now while we're connecting with others, like I said, romantically, in a friend context, even when working with ourselves, that reminder that this is a good time. It's a little bit easier now than usual to kind of put down the worries, put down the heaviness on some level. I mean, this is what the astrology suggests. I know there's a lot else going on in the world, and there's a lot else going in the chart too. But in terms of this Venus and Gemini energy, there is a way in which we can sort of get a lot out of putting down the seriousness in terms of our relationships and having fun and enjoying each other. That seriousness can come up and out in other places even right now. But a lot can be gained and sort of learned from just putting some real effort into having fun with the people that you love rather than being super serious this month, according to that Venus and Gemini signature. Okay, number 6 is sort of similar, or at least it makes sense after what I just said. You know, because similarly, Venus and Gemini energy isn't really the best at talking stuff out. You know, this energy is best used when the verbal energy is light and curious. There's something very sort of changeable about Venus and Gemini energy, and that can make more serious conversations difficult too. And it can also make it a little bit easier to let things go and just move on to something else. So I think that you'll benefit from letting the little things go during this time rather than trying to talk them out. Or we can try to say how we feel, but in a light way. You know, Venus and Gemini energy actually makes it easier to express how we feel and what we think, but in a light way. So this could be a great time to sort of express feelings in a more playful way. And in this way, it could make, you know, vulnerable topics safer, feel a little safer to express, which could really be a good thing. And now I realize I'm sort of contradicting myself a little bit here. But letting things go or letting the seriousness of it go and finding a fun way to talk about it, a lighter way to talk about it, could work really well this month while Venus is in Gemini. Okay, next up, number 7, the number 7 tip, explore a new interest with a partner or friend. I think this one is actually really pretty big. I think that learning a new thing with someone else, learning a new thing together is sort of Venus and Gemini's love language. That Venus and Gemini loves change, is super curious, and loves to talk. So, sort of finding a new interest with a friend or partner and really diving in during this time could really feel great. Yeah, learning something new together is definitely sort of a Venus and Gemini strength, Venus and Gemini's love language. It could be a really fun thing to do this month in some way if you're able. Okay, number 8. We have to talk about appearance when we talk about Venus because Venus does rule appearance and style, fashion, beauty. So Gemini is incredibly youthful. So it's a time to go sort of youthful with your style. Um, Gemini, Venus in Gemini has a youthful appearance, a youthful style, and it can be really experimental too. So almost anything goes in a way with how you present yourself physically this July. But I think leaning in the direction of something that makes you feel sort of young and playful is a great way to go, and just being sort of open to doing things in a different experimental way. I realize this is a really light number 8. These numbers are in no particular order, but I did think you always have to remember to talk about appearance when you talk about Venus because it does come up. Okay. And I mean, there's enough seriousness in astrology and in life. Occasionally, when there's a little reminder to go a bit lighter, maybe it's not the worst thing, especially during Venus and Gemini. This is the right energy for a lighter video. Okay, and the next tip is to go on a mini adventure. Venus in Gemini loves adventure, loves short trips, and loves spontaneity. So, enjoying some fun, some local travel, some excitement, some adventure, something different and new, especially spontaneously, if you can manage it, is sort of right on time this July. Venus in Gemini is a really nice energy. And I hope that you all have a wonderful Venus in Gemini season. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and share. And I'll be back again soon.